Hi, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Monday Mentoring update. I got some good feedback about the update video last week, so I'm going to keep going for a little while. Again, I am looking for feedback on whether you find this helpful, if it's something that you'll likely watch going forward, and that sort of thing. So let me know if you find it useful. What is happening in Monday Mentoring this week is we have our deep dive this week, which means Monday Mentoring is a little bit different than it usually is. Instead of having 3 sessions, we just have 2. That is because our deep dive is actually an hour and a half. And so the turnaround is just really tight to have a 5 o'clock and a 7 o'clock session. So what we do when it's a deep dive week is at noon, there is a roundtable. This week, Lyndon is going to be facilitating the roundtable. If you haven't met Lyndon yet, definitely go meet Lyndon. I love having different facilitators in Monday Mentoring because it just gives you some variety and perspective of different clinicians and practitioners to support all of us in the work that we're doing. So anyway, Lyndon will be doing the roundtable. If you have cases in advance, please submit them. If not, come anyway. You can support people who do have cases, or perhaps there will be time for shorter questions that have to do with cases and that sort of thing. So that's at noon Eastern. And at 5 p.m. Eastern is our first class in the Immune Deep Dive. These are always on Mondays. They're always at 5. Usually it's the second Monday of the month. And we kind of alternate between me teaching it and a guest teaching it, more or less. So I'll be doing this one. It is setting the stage for the rest of the Immune Deep Dive. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a refresher about the immune system, just the different players. If you're a little bit hazy on what is a cytokine, or just remembering the differences between innate and adaptive immunity, how is the gut flora involved in immunity, that sort of thing. We'll be going over that just briefly, not a lot of time on that. And we're also going to be talking about autoimmunity. So we'll be learning some of the foundations of autoimmunity and general things to know about when you're working with a client who has an autoimmune situation. It's hard to go into specifics because, of course, autoimmunity is not one thing, but we're going to go over kind of bigger picture principles. So I am almost always working on the slides for that until the last minute, usually like within an hour or so of the class. If you would like a copy of the slides, some people like to print them out to take notes on them or just have them, on your computer or something like that. Check in the deep dive itself. So when you go into Monday Mentoring, at the top in the navigation menu, it says My Courses. And one of your courses should be the Immune System Deep Dive. If you click on that and then you go to the January session that says Immunity and Autoimmunity, that is where I will post the slides. So if you, it's right under the RSVP section. So once I have them done, that is where they will be. You can download them, you can print them, whatever you want to do. I also will post the references there. And anyway, that'll be there. That is happening after the deep dive. We put up a quiz, usually within a week. And if you want the CEU credits or a certificate saying that you, attended and passed the quiz, you can take the quiz. So I'll send an email out when the quiz goes up, and that's that. The only other announcement for this week is that accountability groups are reforming. If you would like to join an accountability group, join the Monday Mentoring community site. There'll be info about how to do that in this message, in the message you received with the link to this video. And accountability group is just a small number of people who meet regularly, usually weekly or every other week, to hear about what each other is working on and support each other in the best way that you can. For whatever reason, it makes a really big difference. I have 2 accountability groups that I'm in, and I don't know if I would still be self-employed and doing this work if I didn't have them. So I strongly encourage you, whether it's through us or through somebody else, get an accountability group and show up regularly and talk to each other. That it makes such a difference. If you were in an accountability group through us and it didn't work out, you're welcome to say, hey, could you repot me into a new group? If you want to just try it out, let us know. Again, you'll see info about how to do that in the community site. All right, that's it. Otherwise, co-working is happening on Wednesday at 2 as usual. And if you want to join us for our observation group, that is happening Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. You get a 50% discount as a Monday mentoring person. Observation group is just where we see a client together. I do the interview, everybody else kind of holds space and watches. We have a little bit of a break. Everybody goes off and thinks about what they might recommend for the client. We reconvene a couple days later and work together to come up with a plan for the client. It's a really lovely way to do clinical work. I always get so many ideas about it's an emergent process, and that's one of the really fun things about it. We hardly ever end up with something that I would have come up with on my own, but I think it's always something really great for the client and um, just a different experience of clinic if you haven't done it before. So love to have you join us there if you want to do that too. All right, so that's our Monday mentoring update. Now it's time for the very brief kind of behind the scenes what I'm up to over here in Bloom and Grow. And this week, really, I thought maybe I'd give you an insider glimpse into the deep dive preparation. I've had some requests before to do like a podcast or even a whole workshop on how to prepare one of these types of classes. And I will tell you that I spend weeks working on it, but really the 3 days, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, leading up to one of my deep dives, I pretty much work on it, I don't know, six hours a day, all 3 of those days, sometimes a little bit more. So it's pretty intense. And part of the reason it takes so long is that I go down a lot of rabbit holes. So what I do is over the preceding weeks, I'm casually going through research, reading papers, and I just put any notes I have into one big document. And then I do it more intensively these last few days beforehand. And usually I wind up with something that's like 20 or 30 pages long. Um, and so really the work right before the class is to go through everything and organize it. So when I'm doing my preliminary research over the earlier weeks, I just stick it in there, no order really. I just write my notes, link out to the reference, start putting references in Zotero, which is the reference software that I use. But I don't do any kind of planning or plotting. It's just all goes into this document, um, you know, one big jumble. So what I do in the weeks before, or the days before, pardon me, is I sit down with everything and I organize it and I think like, okay, what can I get rid of? Because obviously 30 pages of notes does not fit into 1 hour and 15 minutes of lecture. So I try to organize it. I refine everything. I put it into an outline form. I bullet it, and then I see where the gaps are. Like, what do I need to fill in? Do I need to do a little bit more research on certain parts of it? That sort of thing. So that's where I am with our lecture on immunity and autoimmunity. Right now, I am feeling really good about the class. There's always, I don't know, there's always some self-doubt about like, oh my gosh, is this too easy? Is it too hard? Is it, am I covering things everybody's already heard of before? People are going to be bored with this? Is it going to be whatever? There's lots of that sort of thing happening. So I just try to make it something that I would be interested in and hope that the same is true for other people. But right now I'm feeling pretty good about it, except I still need to do some research on uh, diet and autoimmunity. Again, which is hard because it's different depending on what type of autoimmunity people have. But I want to dive in and see really, I know a lot of people think about like a keto diet or a paleo diet or autoimmune paleo, et cetera. I want to really look into the evidence of that. I'm generally not a huge fan of diets like that. And I know that they certainly have helped some of my clients in the past. So anyway, I want to shore up that section a little bit. And there's a couple of other, I'm trying to look for certain images that I'd like to use. I'm looking for open access image and just pulling together some of these like last little bits and pieces. So anyway, that's what's happening in Bloom and Grow. I also somehow agreed to do a class on gut brain connection for a bunch of social workers Tuesday. So I'm trying to do both of these presentations at the same time. Fortunately, I already have a pretty solid gut brain health class, so I'm just updating it and making it relevant for social workers. And still, it's a pretty busy weekend over here for me. So that's what I'm doing. It's really fun, and also, um, it's these weekends leading up to the deep dive are a lot. Fortunately, it's only 5 a year, and so that's just something I like doing. I want to do it, and I'm really excited for tomorrow's class. So hopefully I'll see you there, or you can always watch the recording if you want to. Anyway, let me know what you think about these videos. Keep me posted. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at some point, and I'll talk to you soon.